Welcome back to the Pit Lane Yappers. I'm Mox.
I'm Rosie. It's been a long time, but we return in Barcelona.
Woo 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 woo. Um, we don't get paid for this, so life got in the way, aka our jobs and
If
life.
anyone would like to pay us for this,
You know where to
feel
find us.
free.
Um, but yeah, so we're skipping over Monaco, Canada, and the other one that I don't even remember anymore.
Um, so
And we're going to
Antonelli's in the
Barcelona.
lead. That's all
Yeah,
we need to know.
and
Skip.
Hamilton is P2 in the standings. But that takes us into Barcelona, which is the last time it's on the calendar for good. Now it's going back and forth with Zandvoort. So next year it's going to have. No, not Zandvoort. What is it going back and forth with?
Thought it was Madrid. Or no,
No, it's one of the.
Imola?
Maybe it's Imola? One of the other races. And I know that
There's
because
a
Fernando Alonso said this is his last time racing here. But I was like, there's no way he's retiring this year. And then I remembered Barcelona wasn't on the calendar for next year, but it is for 2028. So there's that. I'm going to ignore he said that. And we're going to go right into FP1. Um, George Russell is finally back. I feel like he's been struggling the past few races. Not
Yeah,
all of it
well,
is his fault. Some of it is his fault, but most of it is Mercedes being difficult.
yeah. I would just
So
say if I had wasted several years in a Williams to then sit there and learn from Lewis Hamilton to then be immediately sidelined for like a 12-year-old boy, I'd be pissed off.
I think also like what I'm realizing is Mercedes, specifically Toto, was like, we're not choosing between drivers, but it's kind of the McLaren situation last year where they're like, we're just going to let them run with it, but they have chosen their driver, and it's not George.
Yeah, I I don't think that's fair on George, to be honest,
No.
at all. It's
But
like a
George
reverse. It's
looked
a
good.
reverse McLaren situation almost.
Yeah. But you know who else looked fast? Ferrari. Ferrari looked fast in Canada too when I was there. And Monaco, besides Charles crashing, but Ferraris looked fast.
Music to my ears.
Um, and you know who wasn't fast? The Red Bulls, specifically Max Verstappen, because we had 7 people in for the drivers, one of their
Yes.
mandatory swaps, rookie tests. So Isaac wasn't on the grid this practice, but Max was complaining and complaining and complaining. And that's all I
During
have.
during FP1, they did say that the last Ferrari winner here was Fernando Alonso back in 2013. So
I know my goat. I know my goat. But
13 years ago, by the way.
mhm. P1 was George Russell, P2 was Oscar Piastri, and P3 was Charles Leclerc. This was a very good podium for Rosie.
Me. For
Yeah.
me, I was happy.
Wasn't great for me, but you know what? I'm rooting for the underdogs now, so that takes us into FP2. Um, this is when I realized, well, all of the drivers were back in their cars, so I could compare them
Yeah.
actually. And Lando and Oscar were keeping up with each other, and I was like, wait, do they have an equal car? And it's working? I feel like this past few races, they've had a car that's like, they're like, yeah, we've asked
Slight.
them to change it, but like, it doesn't work.
Um, Also in this one, they announced that if Alex Albon starts this race, he becomes the British driver with the most starts for Williams ever. Um, they
Passing
also
Nigel
mentioned,
Mansell. Which he had a
For
special helmet for Nigel Mansell for that whole.
yes. During FP2, they did also bring up what Albon said that his car felt disconnected. Don't really know what that means. Sounds
Speaking of
concerning.
disconnection, Liam Lawson in FP2 had a power failure.
And no gearbox.
And one of them, I can't remember which commentator it was, but they were like, well, he's still moving, so the power can't fail. And DC was like, he's shifting gears. That's why he's moving. It's not because he has power. If you listen, he has no power.
Well,
So,
I feel like that was a recurring issue this weekend.
yeah, it's a lot of power failures. But P1 was Lando Norris, P2 was George Russell, and P3 was Oscar Piastri. Very British podium. I know Oscar's not British, but McLaren is. And that takes us into FP3, which once again, George Russell was outperforming Kimi Antonelli. I will also say, though, this is not like, oh, but Kimi, George is really good at Barcelona. Like, it's a track that's suited for George. So if I was expecting him to perform better than Kimi, Barcelona would be one of the
Places.
tracks that I would expect him to be better. Canada would also be one, which
It was until it wasn't.
but speaking of Kimi Antonelli, the big thing that happened in FP3 was he was impeded by Stroll and literally almost hit the back of Lance Stroll. And he came on the radio and he's like, "What the beep beep?" And Bono was like, "I know, we've already noted it." Bono's like, "Yep, I'm a parent now. I'm a parent to a teenager. I know. I have to calm him down." But that's all I have. Also, I do have the Alpines are on steroids.
Oh, for FP3, there was a red flag right at the end, or near the end, for Bottas for no brakes. He lost his brake pedal.
There's a trend this weekend that was either people had no brakes or no engine. Or both.
Both very important things to drive a car.
Yeah. But P1 was George Russell, P2 was Oscar Piastri, and P3 was Charles Leclerc. This is when I was like, okay, George is definitely going to win it, and Charles is definitely going to be on the podium. Got that wrong. But that takes us into qualifying, which I don't actually have a lot. I have like one line for each.
Not very eventful, so
Q1, I have Stroll outqualifies Fernando Alonso for the first time in 42 races.
I have that also.
That's all I have.
So out in Q1 was Ocon, Albon, Bottas, Perez, Stroll, and Alonso.
Kill me.
So
His home race. Kill me. Isn't it crazy that I was
Q2,
thinking about going to this race because he has the Alonso land? And I was like, oh my gosh, I can go there. Thank God I didn't, because I'd be flattened. I would jump on the track and I'd be flattened.
you'd be like the girls at the Askew stand.
Yeah. Yeah. But that takes us into Q2, which the only thing I have is black and white flag was given to Nico Hulkenberg for driving unnecessarily slow.
They
didn't say
that.
where or when that was. It just popped up. Race control. And I was like, oh.
No. Yeah, well, I don't have anything other than people who are knocked out, which goes Lindblad, Bortoletto, Colapinto, Gasly, Behrman, and Science.
Can we talk about how Liam Lawson was into Q3? VCARB?
One of them had to get there.
VCARB is insane. The past 4 or 3 weekends, they've gotten double points. Like, can you give some of that to Red Bull, please? Thank you. Thanks.
No comment.
And then Q3, I only have a red flag because Charles Leclerc was in the gravel.
Yeah, from the looks of it, he had it snapped and then he didn't have any grip. So
yeah.
he just...
But
it doesn't look overly his fault.
they were like, a car shouldn't snap like that. So there's something wrong with the car that they can't figure out.
What's new?
Welcome to Ferrari. Don't know how to explain that to anybody who's new, but welcome to Ferrari. Um, but pole position was George Russell. P2 was Lewis Hamilton. And P3 was Kimi Antonelli, which Lewis Hamilton came in last minute, and it was a beautiful lap. I genuinely thought he was going to get pole position, and then he just went wide in one corner, and I was like, dang. But by, I think 6/10 of a second, he was below George. So for Ferrari guys, that's impressive. Ferrari's done something.
I'm still very fond of like the Mercedes like relationship, whatever. I think they like each other probably more now they're not teammates.
I think they liked each other all the time, even when they were teammates, but it was difficult for Lewis, who basically built this team up, to, well, back up, to see his teammate being favored. But like, even Lewis was like, I know why they did it.
Yeah.
It just was like kind of a cruddy way to do it. Like,
Well, yeah. But I don't know, I'm very fond of them.
that takes us on to the race, which was eventful in the sense of like DNFs, but like it wasn't that exciting.
I did feel like there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on at the start
Yeah.
and a lot going on at the end.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. When I first watched this race, I did fall asleep. Oops.
Wow. So
So
Alonso
I had to rewatch it.
Alonso had to start from the pit lane due to a power unit change, which really only takes him from P22 to pit lane, so
Kill me.
not a major loss.
But I was like, you know what? That means he can't get in the carnage of turn 1. Not that there was any carnage, but lap 1, we have to note, because he has not been getting good starts. Side note, France just scored against Iraq. It was Mbappe.
That's not surprising.
FIFA World Cup, everybody. Antonelli had a good start.
Just won his bet. He bet on Mbappe to score.
Antonelli had a good start in lap 1, which has not happened like
for a while,
really ever with these new cars. It was kind of like Max with his starts, which is why they changed the regulations and the rules a little bit. But Antonelli he was one of the fastest starts. Alonso was the fastest one.
I would say George had a beautiful start as well.
Yeah. Honestly, the top 3, Lewis, Kimi. No, that's not. It's top 4. George, Kimi, Lewis. Who was 4? Oscar? Or Lando? It was the McLaren. Whichever McLaren was 4 also had a very good start.
Yes. And then in the first lap, Charles goes up 3 places somehow.
Also in the first lap, Hadjar went down 9. 9!
That's what you get for supporting French.
He's the only Frenchman I like, okay?
Anyway, Hadjar goes out wide in turn 1 and forces somebody off the track a little bit. Bortoleto maybe catches, but
no, Lindblad.
Yes, it was somebody. I don't quite remember.
Because Lindblad had to change his front wing. Kill me.
Yes. Nothing really after that particularly happened
until lap 20.
No, lap 6.
Oh.
Lance Stroll retires.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I wrote this note, I didn't notice it until lap 20. Because they never said it. They never said it.
Stroll retires on lap 6 for some reason. And all the cars, regardless of what tyres they've started on, are already sliding around on lap 6.
Yeah. They said very quickly that it's going to be a 3-stop race for most
with
drivers.
60 laps to go.
Yeah. Can I just say we had a lot of DNFs in this race, and they never mentioned it. Most of them never mentioned. So if I don't mention it, it's because I didn't notice it until about 12 laps later, being like, wait, what happened to him?
And then after that, nothing until lap 12, which is when Lewis pits for the first time because he was on softs, so his tires were the worst of the bunch.
This was also the time where George was like, okay, should we pit? Like, we're fighting Lewis. And they're like, no, you're fighting Lando. And I'm like, Lando's P5. What? George is P1. What do you mean you're fighting Lando?
Yeah.
This is why I couldn't be a strategist, because what do you mean P1 is fighting P5? And at the last lap, P1 was racing P5. George and Lando were racing for P2.
Yeah, I have
like,
no idea. How did you know that?
And George was like, no, we are racing Hamilton. And he was like, no, we're racing Lando. And I was like, oh, I trust you.
If you say so.
Like, okay.
Lewis pitting triggered everyone else to start pitting.
Honestly, like
George.
I know I joke about, like, teams should not follow Ferrari's lead, but for Barcelona, I'm convinced that Charles and Lewis were like, hey, we're just going to be in charge of everything. Listen to us.
You know that Cristiano meme with the gun?
Yeah. Yeah. But do you have anything else besides what I have on lap 20?
Oh, George was annoyed by them pitting him because it exposed him to Kimi.
Likely.
Sorry,
George complains about everything this season. It's annoying me.
He said, "Why have you've put me at risk of Kimi overtaking me now," or something like that. Which was valid. I think he felt like they were leaving him high and dry. Like,
but he wasn't fighting Kimi.
Silverstone.
Oh,
anyway.
Oh, we were there.
And then lap 16, Bottas DNF.
Also didn't figure that out until lap 20. Also didn't say anything.
And then Sky Sports said that Williams were under investigation.
Yeah.
For having equipment on the track. On the track at the start, that outside of regulations.
And it was Alex Albon. And I know this for a fact because later in the race.
But, like,
they didn't say what equipment.
They've been doing that a fair bit recently. I feel
like once you did it one time, shouldn't you have somebody specifically, like, ruled to be like, we are going to check to make sure we don't have any equipment?
I'd be so stressed out. And, like, they need someone to be sending, like, friendly reminder texts into the work group chat or something.
Hey, girlies!
Hey, guys.
Just want to let you know.
Reminder that we do not leave equipment on the track.
Yeah. Nothing came out of that, though, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything in the F1, bot that says all of the penalties and stuff, never tweeted about it. So I'm assuming they got away with it, or it wasn't them.
What do you have for lap 20?
I have Alpine told Franco, hey, we're going to swap the cars. And Franco was like, but he's like 2 seconds slower than me.
Yeah.
He's not even pushing. And they were like, we're just being told to let Pierre pass. And he did. I also have Bottas and Stroll out, but question mark, because we were never told.
Well,
mind you, also Stroll's said in pit that entire time until lap 50.
I guess
he was out of the car. There. He was out of the car already. He probably was already flying home.
Anything after that until lap 27, 28, when
me too.
Lewis pits again.
Yeah. It was 2.6 second pit stop. Ferrari had very quick pit stops. All of them were very quick.
Good. We got the fastest pit stop last year.
Yeah, but this year that's shocking. They've been really everyone's been struggling. Everyone's been struggling. It's not just been Ferrari, but then I don't have anything until lap 30.
He went from hards to mediums this time. So he started on softs, went to hards, went to mediums.
This was also around the time George radioed being like, so am I pitting? Are we pitting, or is he committing to a 3-stop race?
Yeah, he was asking.
And they were like, he's committed to a 3-stop race. And he was like, okay, so I can win this thing.
George is perfectly capable of winning a race, but like
Fernando Alonso had something to say about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But lap 30 is when Kimi Antonelli got the warning, the black and white flag for leaving the track and track limits constantly. Mind you,
did they tell him before? You should be telling.
I feel like it should be Mercedes' job saying, "Hey, we're off the track a little bit."
Yeah, I don't know whether you get the black and white. Him, I'm not airing it because I don't follow. Like Kimmy's not someone I have from like.
They did tell him, but they told him on like lap 35, 36, like after he went over one more time. They're like, "All right, Kimmy, we have a black and white flag. So don't go over track limits." So I'm like, well, he just did because he didn't know.
And then lap 31, there's another DNF. Hulkenberg out. Don't know why.
Once again, wasn't told.
And then lap 36, George comes into the pit, so...
Wait, lap 33 is when Kimi and George literally almost made contact at the same corner that Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton did in Barcelona. They should have panned to Toto. Toto Wolff probably was having a heart attack, but...
I know he was having non-flashbacks.
Yeah, but it stayed George P2, P1, Kimi P2. But... Oh no, it was Hamilton P1 at this time.
Yes.
But... George P2, Kimi P3. But yeah, and then lap 37 is when Alex Albon went into the pit and just never came out, and it said he DNF'd.
I wouldn't say never.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, it just kept said in pit, and I was like, oh, how long is this pit stop? Didn't even have a timer. I was like, hello? And while that was going on, at lap 40, the yellow flag came out because Alonso had stopped.
Literally.
Was smoking, everybody, smoking. He was smoking.
Right in front of his grandstand. He was nice and up close personal for the fans.
He did say, I can't remember if it was the driver's parade or the after qualifying. He was like, I'm just going to watch in my grandstand. It's going to be a lot more entertaining than on track. And I was like, well, he kind of manifested that one.
Yeah, just a little bit. Spoke it into existence.
But
Alonso triggered a virtual safety car,
which basically guaranteed Lewis Hamilton to not lose first place because George was pretty close to him. He was like, what, 5, 6 seconds back? But the time that Hamilton was going to lose in the pit lane while pitting, George would have been P1.
Yeah.
So this virtual safety car, everyone came in except George. Even Kimi went in. But Lewis went in and he got out P1 and basically guaranteed himself
P1.
The win. That's when I was like, oh my gosh, Lewis Hamilton's going to win. Lewis Hamilton is going to win again.
And then, yeah, so after the virtual safety cars, Lewis in P1, George P2, Kimi in P3.
And then 8 laps later, lap 48, Alex Albon is back out on track.
He returns.
And I think it's
No, because
because he was under investigation for that thing on track.
yeah,
So they were like,
which
okay,
turns
go back out if you have to do a drive-through penalty, and then we'll just DNF you then. But nothing came out of it. So he was just 8 laps behind.
um yeah, apparently it was some sort of camera or something. So again, not Alex's fault, but
Also, I don't know if the timing sheet thing is AI or just like a system. You code it and it does it itself. But it kept going +8, +1 minute 36, +8 laps, +1 minute 30. Blah. I was like, is he down 8 laps or is he down a minute?
which one is it? So it can't be both.
Like, hello. But lap 50 is when I don't know if it was Lando or McLaren, but they were like, okay, we could possibly get a podium for this. And so Lando's radio engineer was like,
They
hey, get close.
McLaren radioed Lando saying they were expecting at least a 5-second penalty for Antonelli for track
Oh,
limits because they reported his breaches to the FIA and it's been more than 3.
but they were like, stay close to him if you can overtake or if he gets a penalty. And Lando's like, I either can keep up with them now or wait till closer to the end of the race because I will not have tires this entire time. And I was like, ooh, whoever calculated those pit stops didn't do a very good job.
I thought that knew very early. Lewis had a very short stint on the hards, I thought.
Yeah. But then lap 61 is when Kimi Antonelli overtakes George Russell once again in the Mercedes corner.
They
I was like,
were
can you please go to Toto Wolff? I need
they
to
were
see
like
what his
back
reaction
and
is.
forwards. I know Toto was stressing.
But that is real racing because they didn't hit each other. But literally at the same time, Kimi Antonelli, after he overtook George and got P2, Kimi Antonelli slowed down,
Dead to a stop.
pulled out the yellow flag. And then, not even a lap later, there was a virtual safety car. And it was like, okay, wait, what happened? Oh, Charles Leclerc isn't moving. Charles Leclerc went into the gravel and hit the wall.
No, he lost his hydraulics.
Yeah, but he hit the wall because his front
Circa
wing was
circa
destroyed.
Vegas
Yeah.
2024. Don't want to talk about that too much.
And then it was like 3 laps, 63. We were like, okay. They're like, okay, virtual safety car can be stopped. Behrman was out. Behrman went into the pits and never came back out.
I will say my Charles DNF note is Charles Southface.
Yeah, I have no notes about Alonso's DNF because at this point I'm expecting it. But basically that meant the race kind of was at a standstill. Lewis Hamilton won the race, finally. He hasn't won a race since the 2024 Belgium Grand Prix. And then it was George Russell P2 and Lando Norris P3.
This is I get to say this one. This is the first all British podium since 1968 with the US.
Max Verstappen, we need to do something. The Brits are invading.
Welcome back, British imperialism. I will say, the Sky Sports said, and Lewis Hamilton stands tall on his first win in red or whatever. And my first thought was, he's 5'7", bro.
My shoot, I'm not gonna remember the quote, but it was like, the man in silver rises again in red.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and now I want to know, do they script a speech for almost all the top 10? Because like obviously they're not going to script it for like
once they realize that that person is gonna win, they're like,
But, like, they're actively commentating
Yeah, but
while
like,
writing the speech. Like, I feel like I should, like, if
maybe
I was a
they got
commentator,
they
I'd
had
write it for George, Kimmy, Lewis, Charles, maybe
maybe the
Max,
top five
Lando,
they would
Oscar.
draft. Maybe the top five they draft.
Honestly, you could have drafted it for Lewis last year and just kept bringing it.
Been like,
Because he hasn't
well,
won.
he's gonna win at some point. Just be like.
Anyways, who was your winner and who was your loser?
My winner was Ferrari. Well, more specifically Lewis, but I think.
I was gonna say Charles crashed twice. Really?
But it's Ferrari's first win since 2024. Because last year I don't know what they made their car out of, but wasn't anything good.
Whatever Aston Martin has this year is what Ferrari made theirs out of last year.
Yeah, and then Lewis is his first race win in red. It's his first race wins for like 2 years now. So
Since 2024.
it's good.
Basically 2 years.
And he's once again the highest number of race wins.
He is
ever.
also the only driver in 2026 to complete every single lap.
Last year, I would have been bragging about that for a very different reason. Yeah, so I think you can't really not have a winner, not include Lewis in the winners and Ferrari in this race.
I feel like if Kimmy won, I probably wouldn't put him as a winner because he's been winning every weekend. But something about Lewis Hamilton coming back after he doubted himself, after saying, like, you know what, it's not the car, it's me. And then he drove gorgeously. And he didn't give up. He sort of gave up, but, like, he didn't retire. He's like, I'm sticking through it.
This road
like, he has to be a winner.
My loser would be Charles, because he was having a really good race to the point where they weren't really mentioning him in the commentary, and that usually means that nothing's bad happening to him. He was overtaking a lot of people. As an
Aston Martin Fernando Alonso girl, if they don't mention Fernando Alonso, it's a good race.
Exactly. and then right at the end, he DNF'd. Oh, he had a mechanical DNF, so.
Also, Charles Leclerc had not DNF'd ever in his career 3 times in a row. And he now has.
I didn't need to know that. Thanks, but alright.
My winner is obviously Lewis, for everything you said. And then my loser is Fernando Alonso, because not only was it his last home race, but he lost the head-to-head after 42 straight races, and he DNF'd.
I will say Stroll did DNF first, so he just...
That's true! But, yeah. Honestly. Or Alex Albon, because they brought him back out for when he was 8 laps down. I would have just been like, no. This is why I can't be a driver. They would have been like, get back in the car, and I would have been like, no.
That's literally embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. I'm not doing that. It's like when they put Checo back out when he was in Red Bull, and he was like 20 laps down. And then they brought him back in to serve his penalty, and then DNF'd him again, and then sent him out again. I was like, guys, this is a humiliation ritual.
I would say, I think Checo's enjoying himself a lot more, to be honest.
I think he's happy he's back on the grid and he's not in a toxic environment. However, I have heard Cadillac is looking to replace both of them because they aren't doing well, and they were expecting 2 extremely experienced drivers to do well. And I'm like, well...
Have Cadillac considered that that's their fault?
Yeah. Have you considered that Colton Herta, when you put him in a car, also can't drive?
Have you considered that the car is bad?
Have you considered that it might not be the drivers that you put in it, but it might be the car? Because, like, also in F2, Cadillac is a mess. So it's not just, like, they have a bad car. I think their entire team,
like... You can't go in your first year and then expect you to be competing with, like...
I don't remember who it
American
was, but somebody
Ferrari.
on Cadillac was like, well, Aston Martin got podiums with Sebastian Vettel their first year. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's Sebastian Vettel.
And also, Aston Martin was acquired with someone else before.
Force
So
India.
yeah, it's forcing
Like,
it's
it wasn't like
you know what I
starting from
mean.
scratch,
Yeah. It was
but
already an established team. It was just a name change,
yeah,
really, ownership change.
everything changed, but it was still a team. Like,
But it's a pretty established
yeah,
team
they kept a lot of the
within
workers the
Formula
same.
One. So it's not the same concept as building a car from scratch and expecting it to really to be competing with
Also,
the top teams.
it's different having a 4-time world champion come in and explain what he needs versus race winners.
Yeah. And
Like,
well,
and by the way, Bottas probably could have won if Lewis Hamilton wasn't his teammate, and Sergio Perez probably would have won if Max wasn't his teammate. But, like, they've never had the
they've
ability to
never
be
been a
like, I
first
need
drive.
this in
Well,
my car, and then the team being like, okay.
yeah.
So, like, them being like, hey, I need this in my car, and Cadillac going, okay, we'll figure it out. They're like, oh, wait, how do I drive it now? A car for me, I don't know how to drive this.
I didn't think you'd actually do that.
Like, okay, that's how it's supposed to go. But that was Barcelona.
Yeah.
We are now on to
It's Hungary.
Hungary with Red Bull Ring. Max
Who do you think's
Verstappen,
gonna-
Red Bull is finally at the minimum weight, which means they're not overweight, which means Max Verstappen has a chance to pull a Brazil, but not in Brazil. I have faith.
If he carries on like that, he's gonna get pulled up for the World Cup squad. So
Oh, well, the World Cup squad doesn't seem to be getting out of the group stages, so anyways, that was Barcelona, and we will see you next week for Belgium. No, Hungary.
wow.
Hi, it's the same thing.